I'm ready.
Let's
I
go.
want to know. I want to know how you spiritually live.
Eh?
Retreat.
Oh my God, you know the
Of
song.
course, I know the song. I love that song. When I heard it, I was like, "This is my new song. This is my new
What?
song." I love it.
Wow. That's incredible. I love you. The Spiritually Lit Retreat in Tulum, September went off. And it's my first retreat, first time hosting my own spiritually lit retreat. I planned every single detail and I expected it to be great. Like, I'm a great curator of experiences, I'm a great producer, I'm good at that. And it came out even better than I imagined that it was going to be. The impact, the connection, the depth, the love, the expansion that we got to share. Oh, everybody's still hitting me up like, I'm still buzzing. I'm still buzzing. I'm feeling so lit. We made up this call and I go, spiritually lit. And they go, lit, lit, lit. They keep calling me lit, lit, lit. And I'm just very honored and grateful that I had the opportunity to hold space for people. You saw me in 2021
You
at
saw me too.
ECAL at a retreat, and I was having a hard time with life. It was just my separation and just really heartbroken and trying to find my way and feeling so down. And that sacred land helped me to heal and it helped me to really remember my power to heal myself. And I'm so very grateful for Bobby Klein for bringing people like us together in that place and for holding that space. And then to come full circle and host my retreat in the same exact space with all of that power and infinite wisdom and ancestral energy. And I'm beyond. Beyond. It's epic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely remember that retreat. That retreat was a pivotal moment for me also. And I remember you being one of the people that I connected with very strongly because it's
Oh,
like, oh, I know that song, like I feel that
yes.
pain, I know that heartache, and that
Yes.
hug that we had outside of the Temazcal. It was just like,
Epic.
I can
Yeah.
feel it right now.
Yeah. Me
So
too.
I
Same.
get being in that place. And I was thinking, do you remember, did you used to listen to Bobby's podcast?
I didn't even really know a lot about Bobby until I got to the retreat. One of my friends invited me 2 weeks beforehand. So, no, I hadn't listened
Wow.
to anything. I knew
So
nothing.
in one of the last episodes right before he passed, it was about the teacher going away and the students needing to rise up and become the teachers.
Wow.
Yeah. And just like goosebumps, right? And
Total
so that's
goosebumps.
even more the fact that you are now going back to that place and now leading and like carrying on in a different way is whoa.
Wow. That is profound. I did not know that. And I am feeling emotional about that actually. And I, everything that occurred during that period of time of that sadness, the depth of despair, for me, including being there for Bobby, was exactly what led me to this place right now. And as difficult as it was to feel and have to walk through that fire, I'm so grateful that it occurred because it led me right here to this place. And to even put me in a conversation with Bobby Klein as like a student that's now walking in like a path that is in alignment with like him is so that's a huge compliment. And it goes back to that gratitude space for me to be able to hold that space now. And there were 11 of us, 11 women at the retreat. And we came from all walks of life, all over the world, all different stages of life and experience. And to bring all of our hearts together to unfold and connect as a sisterhood and tribe, we sent a shockwave into the entire universe intentionally. We literally did that together. And it's such a gift to be able to, again, remind others of their power and their truth. You know, the healer doesn't heal anyone, the healer reminds everyone that they have the gift to heal. That's what I believe. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm proud. I'm proud of myself. I'm excited for the next one.
Yeah, me too. When is
Yeah.
the next one?
Next one, thinking September 2025, because this one was September 2024. And I'm definitely doing an annual one at ICAO. That just, it's a must. That's
Okay.
has to occur. And then I'm also considering maybe at the 6 month mark doing something more in LA because I'm based in LA. Well, and Tulum, but I spend more time in LA right now, and thinking of doing something more local because I do have a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people that wanted to be there and for different reasons weren't able to make it to Tulum for this one. So yeah, it's a lot of work though. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of stress. For me, the
Yeah.
easiest part is like actually planning the execution of the event itself. It went off. Even it was so cool. Even the things that didn't go as planned were even better than the plan. Like when we had to shift and, you know, make it audible and make an adjustment, the adjustment ended up being even better than what we originally planned. So that was a good lesson for me about surrender and allowing things to unfold and trusting that everything is working, for me in my favor. Um,
That is the ultimate Virgo lesson.
woo! Yeah. Oh, it's a constant lesson for sure. For sure. I got a lot of that lesson during the retreat and being in that space of okay, let me just flow with this and being able to share that with others who were there witnessing it too, and they got to experience what that was like and the lesson of it. It's pretty cool. um but yeah, it was my first time doing it. There was definitely a lot of learnings in terms of putting it together, selling the retreat. The location for me came pretty quickly because once Spirit said that it was time to do the retreat, there was only one place to do it, you know? Um,
Let's talk about that because I'd love to know your experience, or what would you say to somebody? There's a lot of people that want to have a retreat, but there's a lot of fear around jumping and actually making it happen because they don't know enough. I don't have experience. What if it doesn't work out? What if people don't show up? Like all the what ifs.
all the what
So, what
ifs.
do you say to that now that you did it, looking back?
The first what if I would say is, what if it goes better than you expected? What if that? And I get it, as we Virgos, we analyze, analysis paralysis. Like I can go through every scenario and have had many experiences where I, will spiral into this web of stagnation because I've created so many scenarios where it doesn't work that I don't even start. And I've been practicing specifically since I saw you in 2021. I've always been pretty good at executing, but now I don't allow myself or my fears to prevent me from taking that next step. I will have them. I will recognize them like, hey, I see you, but I'm in the driver's seat. I got the wheel. They're in the back seat. They cannot steer this ship. And that's how I see it. So I just take a next step. And I truly believe that any vision that we have is a gift from God. It's a gift from your higher self. It's a peek into your truth, and allowing ourselves to experience that however it may unfold is part of this human experience and the commitments that we've made to ourselves before engaging in this human experience. And so I owe myself the right and the ability to see it through. I wrote my book, Spiritually Lit, in 3 months because of this same principle. And I remember being in the shower and I remember getting a download about writing this book. And I knew one day I'd be an author for sure. Of course. Yeah, totally. Definitely going to do that one day. And Spirit's like, nope, it's now. It's now. It's go time. And I'm like, all right, yeah, sure. What date? By your birthday. And this is like 3 months before my birthday. And I said, well, I need support. I need resources. I need downloads. I need, I need some support. I'm here for it. Just open the floodgates, send me what I need, and I will execute. And literally, downloads, floodgates, conversations, resources, just everything just came. And I believe because it already exists, and I just allowed it and was specifically deliberate about calling that in. I need help. I need resources. And every step in before the Spiritually Lit book, I started the podcast, P's and Q's podcast, where spirituality meets reality. And it was the same kind of thing. Time to start a podcast. Sure, of course, one day. No, you got 2 months. And 2 months later, first episode was launched. And it's just a matter of taking those action steps. And as we commit to just that, just do that. It's not, oh, I'm never going to have fear, because fear is going to accompany us on this journey in different ways. It's how we allow ourselves to continue to show up regardless of that. And so I just tell
Yeah.
myself, I'm just going to take one step towards it. I'm going to take the next step. And I've found that as I take that next step, the step after that lights up. And it's just so obvious and clear. It may or may not be scary. It may or may not be uncomfortable, whatever those words are. It's not relevant because it's the step. And that's what I call the
Yeah.
spiritually lit path. Following those breadcrumbs, following that light up step where you take that action, you trust, you surrender, you step on that stone, and then by nature of momentum, that following step lights itself up. And asking for your resources, asking for your help, diving deep within yourself, and knowing that you have the infinite abundance of the universe within you at your disposal. You got this.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. You're amazing.
I want to talk about your book, but before we do that, I want to ask you because you're also an incredible poker player. Just like
Yeah.
random little thing pulling out of your pocket. I was like, what? She's a poker master. Um, how do you think that your expertise or your experience with the game has helped you to take more risks?
That's a very good question. And I think the answer is yes. I think that in poker to me is very relative to the game of life. You can be dealt a good hand and, play that good hand and win a big pot. You can be dealt a great hand and then sometimes shit don't go your way and you might lose, but you learn something. You can be dealt a shit hand and win the pot, take it all away, win the whole contest. So it's really about mindset, perspective, consistency, and the people who really can be self-aware and self-reflective and kind of get out of their egos really excel in poker. And it's taught me a lot by way of that, and also by way of understanding that, there are some risks involved when it comes to making great gains. They say, nothing ventured, nothing gained, nothing comes without no risk, no reward kind of thing. And I believe that in certain areas of life. And when I think about what the risks are, honestly, they're minimal. A risk to my ego that maybe I fail and don't accomplish it. What is that? That's nothing. That's an actual opportunity. That's a lesson. That's a growth metric, really. A risk to my budget. Yeah, okay, that could be things, but money does grow on trees. It's made out of paper. Like, listen, we can always generate more because we have access to everything we require, and I really do believe that. So I have decided to change my perspective about what risk means to me as well, and it helps me to just push forward and do it. Just get it done. And yeah, the book, let's see. Spiritually lit.
Let's see the book. Oh, it's so
She
pretty.
pretty.
Is that the eye of God in the cosmos?
If that's
Can't
what you
tell.
think it is, then
I
that's
think
what it
that's what it's
is.
called. I love it.
Uh-huh.
It's beautiful. Discover
Thank
the
you.
illuminated. What did it say?
Discover the illuminated path within.
Okay, so tell us about Spiritually Lit. What is it about?
Spiritually lit is about shedding all the programming. We come here on earth, we get our databases wiped clean. Everybody's starting from a blank slate, don't remember a lot. And there are people here who've got ideas about how things work, how life works, how you're supposed to move in the world, and they share their experiences. Most of those that someone else taught them, you know. So we're getting passed down these procedures, these programs from other people, people we love, people who care about us, people who are doing their best to want to pour into these little seeds here on this planet. And over time, there are programs that we pick up that are not in alignment with our truth, not in alignment with our journey, not in alignment with our higher selves. And spiritually lit is really about tuning out that noise, breaking those shackles from those old programs so that we can tune into our path, our illuminated path. What speaks to your soul? What's your purpose and your mission? Why did you come here on this earth? To do what? How do you tune into that? How do you listen to that? And how do you walk on your authentic spiritually lit path? And that's what the book is about. It's really actually it's a workbook as well. At the end of each chapter, there's an exercise that relates to the chapter so that we can put some of the lessons in action. And yeah, I'm really proud of it. It's a fun read. It's really a journey into self discovery. It's also on Audible, and I narrated it, so it's like talking to me, which is always fun.
Oh, I love that. And I love that it's a workbook. I enjoy being able to, pause, reflect, and then see how I'm going to apply what I just learned.
Yes, exactly. I tell people, and it's a pretty light read. I am gonna front. It's 120 pages, double specs. I tell people when they go through it, do a chapter a day. There's 12 chapters. Be done in 2 weeks. Do a chapter a day. Do that exercise and focus on that exercise as you go throughout the day. And notice what you notice. Observe. Really connect with the message within yourself. And by the end of it, probably have some really key ideas.
I
Mhm.
noticed when you talked about the retreat and the book and just your journey through all of it, you mentioned spirit. Like you were hearing spirit, spirit told you this, spirit said that.
Mhm.
So does the book like you said, it helps you to find your own path. Does it help you to connect with your intuition more so that you can hear that voice that is, the
Yes.
voice that's for you?
Yes. That is the purpose. The
Hmm.
purpose is to help you clear out all the noise so you can tune in even deeper to yourself, to your higher self, to your spirit, to your whatever word people like to use to describe intuition. This subtle nudge, this subtle guide that we all have access to, that sometimes it gets cluttered, like being on a radio station, you got a little bit of static. Let's get to the clearest station so that we can hear the signal. And as we're sending signals out when we're manifesting or calling in, praying and meditating, and we have a clear channel for our signal. That's a bi-directional signal. The signals go up and they come down. And the clearer that channel is, the faster that signal bounces back. So that is the whole purpose, to help that. I have a chapter called What They Eat Don't Make You Shit. And it's it's a good one. It's true. What they eat don't
I
make you
love it.
shit. You got to
This is
digest
why
your
I love
own
you.
plate, honey.
Yeah. So, speaking of, um, how do you experience these signals? What do they sound like, feel like?
Oh, good question. For me, they feel like whispers, almost
Hmm.
like sweet little whispers. And that's also helpful for me because I do have like my fear voice can be in there too. And sometimes it's who is this, my intuition voice telling me something, or is this my fear voice, and trying to determine um, which energy this is coming from. Sometimes my fear voice is a little bit aggressive and just like, don't do that. Like, what if this, and and all the, don't do it, don't do it. It's scary. Yet my higher self is very chill. Like, just like a, hey, it's about time we write that book. I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How about by the birthday? Like, oh, okay, cool, And I also receive a lot of synchronicities within the universe. As I'm moving along, I might be thinking about something and having a dialogue within myself, trying to mm, make a decision about something, and something actually like on the TV might come on that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about, but that sentence was completely related to me, or
Yeah.
a conversation that I overhear, or a butterfly might fly by. And I really pay attention to the synchronicities in the universe. I receive them as divine messages, and they've guided me so well. And it creates a feedback loop. So as
Yeah.
the more I'm observant and taking action, the more I'm receiving, and then the more I'm doing it. So then the more I'm receiving, and it just creates this wonderful loop that is comforting, really, because at the end of the day, we're all trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Nobody really has it all figured out. And that's part of the fun, I think, part of the journey. And the if you had it all figured out, be kind of like, well, damn, what do I do now? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what next? So I'm enjoying this process of discovery and learning and expanding as a being here, and supporting others on the journey. I have a spiritually lit community as well. We meet every second Thursday of the month on Zoom. And I mean, people all over the world, all having their own experiences, but with the same intention to raise the vibe, raise the frequency, raise the consciousness, collectively and support each other through that. And it's such a beautiful, beautiful community. And I'm truly,
Wow.
truly grateful I get to share with all these
I didn't
light
even know that.
workers. Yeah, you should join us in
I would
November.
like to know. Yeah.
November.
Right, because it's Thursday and tomorrow's the old. Do you have one tomorrow?
No, it's the second Thursday. Now I'm looking at
Oh,
my calendar because I think I know what day that is. It's the 14th,
okay.
November 14th. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You must join us.
I would love to. I would
Okay,
love to check it out.
perfect. Yeah, it's at 5 p.m. Pacific.
Okay.
I'll send you a calendar invite.
Yes, please. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So tell me, how did you? I love how you took your book and you were like, I'm going to make a retreat out of this book. So,
Mm-hmm.
how did that happen?
One of those whispers. It was like, it's time for the retreat. I'm like, okay. Now, this one definitely scared me. I'm not even going to front. Like the podcast, like, okay, cool. Like, all right. Never done that before, but figured out the book. All right. Well, okay. A little more uncomfortable for sure. The retreat. Oh, my goodness. Because, with the retreat, there's the selling component. You got to fill the retreat to pay for the retreat, and the chicken before the egg, and all these things. And I participated in many retreats. I've facilitated at other people's retreats, but I'd never yet produced my own retreat. And it came with a lot of fear, but then also came with a lot of excitement, knowing what I could do to make impact on others and how I could be of service, which is part of my mission here on earth. I knew that I had to get over myself so that I could create this space for others. And I ended up having to reschedule the first part of it because it was supposed to be in January. And I was going to have it on 111, and I had all these ideas, and it didn't work out. I didn't sell enough of it. I had people committed, and then at the last minute people fell out, and it was stressing me out to no end. I was definitely having heart palpitations. And I
Oh,
just
yeah.
sat there one day and sent out a signal like, well, what is this? What is this, and what am I supposed to learn from this, and what should I do? And Spirit was like, it is what it is. Like, it is what it is, what it is. You should change the date and learn from that. It's an opportunity. And it was so hard for me, my ego, having to change the date, having to cancel. I felt like I failed and
Yeah.
all of these things initially. But when I think about it now, and even after I got over myself, like a few weeks after I let that slide, that was so necessary for me to learn one, that it's okay to adjust. It's perfectly okay to shift. I don't have to stay in one idea or time frame because I created in a time frame. It's good to have time frames that we anchor to. That's how we get things done. And sometimes you got to shift, and that's okay. And being able to be agile enough to make a shift is a superpower. And I'm not a failure because I had to do that. I'm actually even more of a boss because I was fluid enough to do it, and I executed it, and it was even better than I thought it was going to be, and it was amazing. And the time of year and everything was better. And knowing that it's okay, chill out. So I'm so grateful. I'm still floating when I think about it and when I talk about it. The sessions that we did were just so powerful. We did spiritually lit sessions every day, and intertwined with so many, because we spiritual and we lit, we had so much fun and activities. We had a sound healing in a cenote.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh my gosh, never have I ever had a sound healing in a cenote. And It was actually the most beautiful cenote I've ever seen in my life. It's called Nam Cenote in Tulum. We went to the ruins there, right there on the beach, and had a beautiful tour of that experience. And we did temezcal. You already know. We did cacao. We really, and the way I structured it was a journey. So we started off by breaking up all that stagnant energy so that we could release it and shedding those layers so that we may be a vessel that can be poured into and receive. And we did a lot of work with forgiveness and release, letting go of old narratives and things that don't serve us, and then opening our hearts and expanding so greatly so that we could fill our vessels and our hearts and our universes with more love, more connection. Oh, it was really sweet.
Sounds like a really nice time. I wish I could have been there, but I learned
I
about it
do too.
like the week
Honey.
before, 2 weeks
I,
before.
you say what?
That I learned about it like 2 weeks before. You're like, oh, hey, yeah, I'm doing a retreat. I'm doing a retreat in like 2 weeks. And I was like, oh,
You're like,
okay.
wait, okay. Oh yeah, because you put the message in the WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was sold out. It was sold out maybe 2 months before, 2 or 3 months before it was time. Like,
And how did you do that? Because that's one of the things that, not just you, and you were saying that it didn't fill right away, so you needed to be flexible, move things
yes.
around. So how did you get it to fill? Like, is it
I did a lot more work on my social media. I did everything really from my social media and my personal connections. Um, because I have a social media presence, and then I have connections and friendship connections. So I invited friends, I invited family, I invited my network on social media. I'm also a coach as well. So I invited, people in the spiritually lit community. I invited people that I coach that aren't in the spiritually lit community. I actually offered a discount to anyone in the spiritually lit community, which I don't charge anything for our monthly meetings or for our community. This is just something that I do to be of service and connect other light workers around the world. But I gave everybody in the community a discount as well. And as I'm thinking about planning for September, something that I really want to get better at, something that I know I can learn from, and maybe you have some episodes I need to watch so I can learn this, is really getting better at the marketing to people that aren't in my ecosystem. And that's something that didn't really occur. I will say that people in my ecosystem also shared and invited people in their ecosystem. And that's how I got a chance to fill it up and broaden my network. So there were people there that I didn't know personally yet. So that was cool to get to make those connections, and incentivizing people to share it is a good way. Although these people just shared it because they really just thought it was cool. They're like, "This is cool. You should come." And yeah,
and how long was it? 3 days or 5 day 5 days?
5 days.
What do you
Five
think
days,
about
4
5
nights.
days? Was that
I like
enough?
5 days. 5 days was wonderful. It's just
Yeah.
enough where you're like, I got what I needed. I can take some time, like go home and now I can integrate. I think over 5 days might be a little overload, unless the 6 day is just like a rest day, like a rest and integration day. And I think any shorter than that, especially with travel for where we were doing it, a lot of people coming from the US, any shorter than that, it almost feels a little rushed. So I
Yeah.
thought it was absolutely perfect. I
I like 5.
technically, if anything, would build in like a optional 6 day for people who wanted to stay that extra day, and we just lounge and we just chill and we just lay by the pool and sip mai tais and actually margaritas, because we Viva Mexico, and sip margaritas and just talk and
Oh my
chat.
God. I have such an American girl moment with margarita.
What?
When I first moved to Mexico,
Uh-huh.
Israel took me to this bar in Roma in Mexico City,
Mm.
and the guy asked me if I wanted una margarita. And I had never heard anybody ask me if I wanted that in Spanish before.
Una
So
margarita.
I was like, what? ¿Qué? ¿Qué? And then Israel's like, a margarita. And I was like, oh, a margarita.
Oh, a margarita. I would love una margarita.
It was not my finest moment.
That's
It was not my
adorable,
finest moment.
actually.
Yeah.
I love that. I love how you turn red when you get embarrassed. It's
Yeah.
so cute.
Well, it's the skin. It just shows everything.
Yeah, it's
It
so
just shows
cute.
everything. Can't hide
I love
behind
it.
it. So what? Oh, so I don't have the answer. I don't have like the answer, but because you asked,
Yes.
how to get people from the outside. I think what you were doing is a great job, just having people share to their networks because that allows you into theirs. And then, if you're facilitating with other people, if you partner with other people, you tie into their communities.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely email marketing
Yeah,
is important.
correct.
And then there's so many other paths after that, like advertising. And I think the podcast is a really big way because I went to Bobby's retreat because I had been following his newsletters, email.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was listening to his podcast, getting to know him
Mm.
every week, every Sunday. And then I had a
Okay.
session with him. And then he's like, you should come to the retreat. And I was like, oh, well, all right, I will. And so there I
Okay.
was.
There you
Yeah.
go. That makes sense. I like
Hmm.
that. I think you're absolutely correct. Just as people get an opportunity to listen and connect, right? You're like getting to
Yeah.
know him by listening to him every Sunday. I am in the process of about to start pre-production for season 2 of the podcast, which I'm going to rebrand as the Spiritually Lit podcast so that everything's under the
Are you going
same
to put the
branding.
song in the beginning before
Yes,
every
I
episode?
think I'm gonna
Yes,
have
please.
to.
So we can sing and just. I
Yeah,
love that
we're gonna
song.
have to. Oh, that's a great idea. Thank you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, what lessons? Before we get into the lessons,
Okay.
looking back, this is a twofer. Looking back, things went wrong. Yeah, like maybe not wrong, but I'm sure there were things that didn't go the way, like you mentioned before, you were expecting them to go. But
Like for
regardless
during
of
the
that,
retreat
the whole
or just the
process.
whole process. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Things didn't always go as planned. That is for sure.
But was it
During
worth
the
it? Would you do
retreat.
it again?
Say that again.
Was it worth it? Would you do it again in spite of
Be-
that?
yes. I'm doing it again. It's so worth it. It's worth it for so many reasons. For me, the biggest gift that I got out of this experience is being able to be a gift to others and to hold this space energetically with such powerful intention of love and light. It's the gift that keeps on giving. So by me just pouring all of my love into others, they pour more love into themselves, they pour love more into the world, they pour it back at me, and it's the gift that keeps on giving. And I think it's so necessary. I think we're in a beautiful time on earth as well, where there's a great shift going on, a great awakening. So many beings ascending, and being part of that community and being able to do my part to assist others who are seeking that experience, and supportive communities to awaken within themselves. I'm just on purpose, right? Like this is part of my mission here. This is what I'm doing here on earth. So it's so worth it. Retreats can obviously be very profitable if designed correctly. So that's, we ain't never mad at that, right? So that's also a good thing. And it's just chock full of growth opportunities and experiences. To say I never did it and then to say, yeah, I done did it and it was fabulous and like it's amazing. It's just like everything.
Yeah,
I'm definitely doing it again.
that's
It must be
awesome.
done. Yeah.
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 So now on to the lessons. What lessons could you turn into pieces of wisdom and advice for someone who is now where you were and like, I want to do this, but
Someone who wants knows that they want to host a retreat.
yes, but they want to learn from others who have been there and done that. Like, so what did you learn on this retreat?
What lessons did I learn? My first lesson, I would say, is well, this isn't a lesson. This is just like a foundation principle that I use when executing. The first thing is to be very clear with yourself about why you want to do this retreat. Why. So align with your why first. That's really, really important. And then the second thing is pick a date. And these are more just like things to do. Lessons learned is that it's not necessarily gonna go the unfold the way that we plan it out. We can pick dates and we can, structure things all we want. And doesn't mean that it's going to unfold in that exact way. If we're getting to the outcome that we seek, maybe being a little more flexible with the fluidity of the middle part of that. And that was something I mentioned earlier that I had to learn, and it was not a fun lesson because I'm can be kind of rigid sometimes. When I make a plan, I want to hold to it and I want it to be exactly how I planned it, and learning how to just let go and allow myself to flow in that, with grace. Um, Another lesson I learned is about giving myself grace and being gentle with myself and allowing myself that fluidity, allowing myself to flow on the river like a leaf and knowing that that's okay. And that's something I'm learning in this lesson and so many life lessons, because sometimes I can be pretty hard on myself. Um, I also learned timing. So initially, the January retreat, I think I gave myself 6 months for that. And I'm learning, especially from doing a lot of research with other retreats. I, follow people on Instagram and started looking for knowledge and wisdom. I think a year out at least is the planning stage. We want to be booking these things out. And I've been reading a lot of different wisdom from people who suggest that, you don't even have to book the retreat to start selling it. You can start selling it first, even, and start doing it that way, and then book everything, which I think is also a really great idea. So we get the revenue in before we start expending revenue. So
Yeah.
I think that's a good lesson. And um, hmm, I think that setting the foundation of the intention that you wish to accomplish, which is setting that frequency, right? Setting that energy, setting that intention, which is something that I believe in doing with all things. Set that intention, and you will find that the universe will conspire with you to create that outcome. So
Yeah.
even when things are looking a little scary or feeling a little uncomfortable or feeling unknown, it's okay to honor that. It's okay to give that energy its time, knowing that it's just part of this journey along the road to where we are going, and we are going there. Like, it's not a if, it's just a when. I mean, it's not a if, it's a when. It's inevitable, it's happening. And being okay with everything along that along that path, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. It's a good thing.
Yeah. Those are all really good points.
Thank you.
You are so wise, my friend.
Thank you, my love.
Yes.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. You have really beautiful words. Um,
Thank you.
well, I didn't get to ask, these are additional questions.
Okay.
How does your musical influence your retreat experience?
How does your musical influence your tree?
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
my mission to be of service here and to support the raising of the frequency in this plane and support beings as they're expanding and awakening during this time. I execute on my mission through many different mediums, through the podcast, through the book, through the retreats, through the music. So they all roll up to this one cosmic expression of me. And
Mm.
so, yeah, in the retreat, I didn't perform or anything. I didn't sing or anything like that,
You
but
didn't sing?
not as
People weren't
a,
going around going spiritually. Oh my God, I would
yes,
have
sing
been. It was all over the.
it. Sing it. I love it. Not in a performing way, but we did do a lot of drum circles and fire circles, and we
Okay.
all sang together because
Okay.
it's in that example really wasn't about, me, and it
Yeah.
was really about us all, everyone together. But I do use music as one of those mediums. I put a lot of light codes in my music and a lot of light codes in my videos and my artistic expressions of the music. And it's all in alignment for me with this spiritually lit path that I'm walking on.
I love it. Maybe you can do spiritually lit chants.
That sounds amazing.
That's what I'm here for, you know?
I love you. Come on. Let's go. I love it.
Yes. Okay, so I just have one more thing, and it's
Yes, dear.
actually a question that I would like you to ask if one comes. And this question is for the retreat gods. If
Oh.
they could answer one question for you, what would you ask?
I'm asking the retreat gods one question that they could
Yes.
answer. Hmm. I mean, gosh, I got a whole bunch of questions. They're gonna answer all my questions. I would ask them how many retreats I should do a year. Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
What is spirit telling you right now? What did it just say?
Two.
Okay.
Came out with two.
Okay.
Which is I kind of alluded to that, like doing a local West Coast one and then doing an international one, maybe a West Coast one in the spring and an international one right after summer. And I'm also one of those people where I recognize that things are happening in this present moment, and each present moment, different things could happen. So it might be two this year, and then it might be four next year, and being okay with, again, being fluid enough, one, to receive that message, and two, to allow that to occur. It might go to two, it might go back down to one, it might go to five, and it might go to three, and either one of those are okay with me.
Indeed.
Indubitable.
Well, my friend, thank you. Thank you for being here and sharing with us.
Thank you, my love. Thank you for inviting me. I had so much fun chatting with you. It's really good food for thought for me, too, to hear it out loud and say these things. So I appreciate that. I'm excited that you're creating this space for people to get to learn and have resources. And my name is Quené Forée, for anybody out there listening. I love connecting with people. So you can find me at Quené Forée on Instagram, and I read my messages as well. So if anybody has any questions, they want to hit me up. I love sharing information. So thank you for creating this for us, Crystal.
You're welcome. And thank you. Bye.